Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Let me open this a little bit in case daylight does arrive. Here at Dawn Busters, we have 1934 Royal Canadian, imported Royal Canadian. Bought this at Savannah Down, no, correction, Discount Depot on United States Highway 90 business route westbound in Marrero, Louisiana. Great store, great store. You must go there. The Northern Lights, introduced in 1968. I bought this at Winn-Dixie on United States Highway 61 northbound. Okay. Well, there's Winn-Dixies all over Louisiana. They don't sell this brand anymore, but Walmart does. But they don't sell the glass bottles. They sell the big 1.75 liter bottles. Okay. So Royal Canadian 1934 imported. This was $8.99 at Savannah Discount Depot. The glare is kind of bad, but it's got a shield with a maple leaf, two lines. It says blended Canadian whiskey distilled under supervision of the government of the Dominion of Canada. Product of Canada, makes sense. Sazerac Company, Frankfort, Kentucky. And the Sazerac Company does own the Buffalo Trace Distillery in Frankfort, Kentucky. Now this is not going to be much of a taste challenge because this whiskey, I think in 1934 was developed to sort of like mimic Seagram's VO, okay? A lot of wood, standard whiskey flavor, that kind of thing. So sort of like one of those, there was so many, if you want to call them cheap VO ripoffs. Ironically, they're both owned by the same company today. VO was bought by Sazerac of Canada, Sazerac Canada, subsidiary of Sazerac in 2018. So I don't know when Sazerac got a hold of Royal Canadian, and I don't know who started this brand. It's probably one of these that was passed around over the years. Okay, so it was never popular. If you try to find old newspaper ads or magazine ads, you can't really. So it's just been kind of like under the radar for 86 years. It sells a little bit. It's not sold in this parish. I've never seen it anywhere but the West Bank of Jefferson Parish, and only in Marrero. I bought a small bottle, the half-size bottle, at Ali and Sons, and then I bought this full bottle at Discount Depot. It was $8.99. So it may be common where you live. It's not common around here. Okay. The Northern Lights is common here. I don't know about your area. And there's the Northern Lights. Let's try to get it to flash. Yeah. Look at the Northern Lights. Introduced by Glenmore Distilling in 1968. Well, Glenmore is owned by Sazerac today, but it was a Hiram Walker brand for a while, and it's distilled somewhere in Canada, probably Ontario, but I don't know. These companies don't ever tell you. You know, there's not that many distilleries in Canada. There's a few big ones, and they make everything. There's the Crown Royal in Manitoba, Hiram Walker in Ontario, right? And then there's Black Velvet Distillery, I think, in Ontario. That's three. There's like two more. Good morning, Ron. Good morning to you, Maxwell. So the Northern Lights is going to have more of that plum wine taste or that cocktail sherry taste, okay? It's got that Canadian whiskey with flavors added taste. It's got the diamonds around the neck. Nice looking bottle. It's brown, so it's good. Brown glass. Protects the whiskey. Now, when Winn-Dixie did a closeout, they were selling it for $4.74. The tag said, but it rang up to $4.75. I wasn't going to fuss over a penny. But I said, what a deal. I could have bought 3 or 4 bottles, but I mean, I don't need that much. So I couldn't. Then my friend David was like, why you didn't buy me one? I said, wait a minute. You said you didn't even like those flavored. You said it tastes like licorice. So what was the point of buying it? This one has a broad shoulder tapered bottle. So it's tapered. And it comes down to the typical Sazerac lip. But this is not the standard Sazerac bottle because most of them are not tapered like this. They're just straight down. All right, so it is a unique design. I've not seen that in other Sazerac offerings, okay? I still have 90% of this bottle left. This is the newer bottle that I bought. And then my friend David was saying, what do you think? Should I buy it? Because they had 2 bottles on the shelf. I said, well, if you want, but he was buying other stuff, so he passed it up. No big deal. Okay. Now, did that drip? No, it's just water. All right. Now, you'll notice that I don't know if you can tell, but I can. The Royal Canadian is a much darker whiskey. It's amber, almost getting into copper. Do they add coloring? I don't know. Probably. And you'll notice the Northern Lights is much lighter. Gold. So it's gold with a slight amber. It's getting into amber, but gold as opposed to nearly copper. All right. So I have to be careful not to glance down because that'll give it away. What's the age statement on these? Well, we know they have to be aged at least 3 years in oak barrels. Usually they're charred, but they're usually old bourbon barrels. So the char doesn't really make much impact. They just buy the old bourbon, like Sazerac, they probably using old bourbon barrels from Buffalo Trace and Barton. So that's typical. And they ship them over to Scotland, and they said sometimes they were saying at Jack Daniels, sometimes they'll use them for 100 years, as long as they don't leak or fall apart. So 100 years. No age statement. So we would assume, can't say for certain, that it's at least 3 years. That it's probably no more than 3 years old. In America, if there's no age statement, in the United States of America, not British Commonwealth America, but in the United States of America, if there's no age statement, it has to be aged at least 4 years. We're talking about Canada, not the USA. No, I don't see an age statement. So more than likely, they're both minimal 3-year age. But we just don't know. Seagram's VO has no age statement anymore. It used to be age 6 years. Now it doesn't say. So is it less than 6 years? Probably is, because if it was 6 years, they'd be telling you that, right? All right. Now I did a video, I did a solo review of this Royal Canadian. I liked it okay. And then my daughter and I did a duo review. And at first she said, ugh. I said, what is bad? And as she drank it and sipped on it, she said, no, it's not bad. It just shocked me because I had never tasted that kind of thing. She's used to these strong bourbons that friends of hers give her to try. So and she's more of a gin person anyway. So then she just said, it's kind of bland. So that was her assessment, that it was just bland, but it didn't actually have a bad taste. Now, when she tried the Seagram's VO Gold, she loved that. We did you can look up that video. She was very excited about the VO Gold, which is 8-year aged and no longer produced apparently. But there's so much backstock, you'll see it on the shelves for probably 10 more years. Okay, this smells sweet candy, corn, lots of corn, wood, some rye. Actually, a pretty strong rye. That might have been something that she didn't like either. A pretty strong rye note, rye whiskey. Malt whiskey, yeah, a little barley malt whiskey and maybe wheat. What about the flavorings? Not really. You get a shade of that honeycomb or whatever, but that's making me think that it's the Royal Canadian, the more standard VO mimic type thing. And remember, VO and Crown Royal both came from the same company, Seagram's, which is no longer in business. When they went out of business 20 years ago, Diageo used to be Grand Met and Guinness. As a merger of Grand Metropolitan and Guinness companies, and then they renamed it Diageo, sort of like a meaningless name. But they bought the Crown Royal, dropped the Seagram's off the label. It used to say Seagram's Crown Royal. You can find old bottles that say that. And then 18 years later, they sold the Seagram's VO off to Sazerac, which kept the Seagram's name, but it's not. There is no Seagram's. Okay. And Sazerac also bought Seagram's 83, which we can't get. I've never seen it. That's an old brand, really old, Seagram's 83. And so is Seagram's 5-star. You know, they have Seagram's 7 Crown. Oh, I'm sorry, it's called 5 Crown, 5 Crown. Sold in Canada, but unheard of in the US from what I can tell. Anyway. This seems to have more of the flavoring notes in the nose, but actually, I'm a little confused because they are remarkably more similar than I expected. Lots of corn, grits. I just had some grits this morning for breakfast. That might have thrown me off. I had some grits and I put some corned beef hash in it, and some Valentina hot sauce and some black pepper and salt, and I heated it up really good. And so I was eating the grits hot. It was hot too. I had to eat it slow because it was so burningly hot. It's warm here today though. It's going to be about 75. Warm. But so you get that taste of the corn in your mouth. Now that was white corn, the white hominy. And these are made from yellow hominy, yellow grits, polenta, if you want to call it that. They call it that in Europe. All it is pulverized corn. And they soak it in water and then they distill it. People in the northern states say grits. How do people eat that? Well, I mean, how do you eat oatmeal? How do you eat cream of wheat? It's the same principle. This is not exotic. Okay, it's not something you got to figure out. A lot of wood. It's like you're drinking a barrel. Hey, would you like to drink a wood barrel? Here's something you can have. You say, what about char? It's not really that, because like I said, the char goes dead after like the first run. It's like a tea bag. And there's a long video actually discussing that. I think whiskey.com. They travel around the different distilleries, and they were at the Canadian Mist outfit there, and owned by the people that own Jack Daniel's, Brown-Forman. And they were saying, well, they wanted to make something that was bland on purpose because people don't like harsh flavors generally, and they just wanted to make a nice, mellow Canadian blend cocktail whiskey, highball whiskey. So in 1967, they developed Canadian Mist. And it's one of the top selling whiskey brands in America, in the top 10. And so you can't really complain about it being dull when it was designed to be dull. I mean, you could complain about it, but you can't say they did it wrong, because that's the way it's designed to be. And the man described, the brand representative doing the distillery tour, he said it's designed like that. He's like, the Jack Daniel's is the first tea using a fresh tea bag, right? So have a strong tea flavor. He said, but the Canadian Mist is taking the tea bag and using it a second time. And what do you get? A much more watered down thing. Okay. So that's what you're going to get with these as opposed to bourbon. Is it similar to bourbon otherwise? Quite similar. Now, the bourbon fans will say, wrong, you're wrong. And I'm saying, no, I'm not wrong. I'm actually not wrong. Okay. Well, over here in my right hand could be to your left. This one, I'm picking up that plum wine, or if it's sherry, cocktail sherry or something like that. So this one has more of a candy flavor. It isn't candy. It's, I don't know what it is. It says whiskey with natural flavors. It's some kind of complex combination of what we would call sweet, fruity, sugary flavors. All right. It's not artificial flavoring. They're all artificially colored, though, with caramel color. I mean, the Canadian, the Scotch, the Irish, the American blended, they're colored. Even the blended bourbon, like 10 High. You can buy blended bourbon, 10 High, Kentucky Gentleman. There's a lot of blended bourbon brands. Are they popular? Not really. But 10 High is at Walmart. Boy, I'll tell you, they must sell a pretty good amount. You say, because there's a lot of people that's cheap and they want to buy bourbon cheap. And exactly, you're right. But you see, they could buy, you can't say it's just the price. It's got to be their preference, right? It's got to be their preference, because what's the clincher on that? For the same price as 10 High, you could buy Ancient Age, which is straight bourbon, okay? So you can't say it's all just people want watered down to save money, because some straight bourbons are cheaper than the blended. Now, that's true. I can buy a whole liter of Kentucky Tavern straight bourbon. It's only 3-year age, but straight bourbon for $8.99. Now that's the best value on the market. I seriously doubt you are ever going to find, I mean, unless it's Bellows at Savannah Discount, which that's probably all gone. Those kind of things get blown out in a week. But this is a regular price. It's not one of those blowouts. $8.99 for a liter of straight bourbon, and it's been on the market since 1903. Kentucky Tavern from Buffalo Trace. That is a great inexpensive bourbon. Okay. Now, can you get McAfee's a liter? Yeah, but it won't be $8.99. You can get Ancient Age, and it's not going to be $8.99. So there's a whole array of Buffalo Trace straight bourbons that are inexpensive. It's not all Pappy Van Winkle or $200-300. Now, I was at a store the other day and I looked, and they had a bunch of Blantons, but they had it kind of stockpiled. I said, they're holding it for somebody. I didn't say a word. I got my Blantons. So you can pay the high $60, or you can pay $8.99 and get a whole liter. Now that's your choice, and you know you're not going to do bad with Kentucky Tavern. You're going to actually do quite well. Now with the Royal Canadian here, the Royal Canadian, there is a specialty version. It's like a 12-year age. It's got like a red label. I've never seen it. It's like Royal Canadian Special Reserve. Is it good? I mean, I can't tell you if it's good. I've never even seen it. I've seen it online, Sazerac website. Good morning, Ron. Congratulations at LSU, says Tommy. Yes, thank you very much. They've only had 2 undefeated seasons in the last 62 years. 62 years ago, 1958. Really not quite 62 yet, but you know what I'm saying, 61 seasons ago. But they went undefeated, LSU, and they beat Clemson in New Orleans to cap off the season to finish undefeated. Here we go, 2019, 2020. They went undefeated and defeated Clemson in New Orleans to cap off the season. So it's funny how they have these parallels, right? Both times they defeated Clemson in New Orleans. Okay, well, I know which is which now. I don't even need to close my eyes. This is the Royal Canadian in my left hand. It's got a strong wood flavor, straight up corn, no char, but a lot of wood, no charred. Some rye, I think a little wheat to soften it out, and some barley malt whiskey to give it that doughy thing, you know? Okay. And this is the Northern Lights, which has that flavoring. Now, which one do I prefer? Okay. Okay. It's a tough call, but I think I'll go with the Northern Lights because it has a little less bite to it. The Royal Canadian has a little bite to it. I think Crown Royal does too, but I'll have to go in. I haven't cracked open my Crown Royal bottle. I got a huge bottle. Just to show you, the Crown Royal, if you're lucky, you're going to get it for $21.99, and there's really no chance of that. $21.99. And over here, we're talking about $8.99 and $9.99. So look at the price difference. Is Crown Royal way better? I haven't done a blind taste test yet. I don't know. I assume it would be. I assume it would be. I don't know. It may not be. J.O., Jonathan Owen, who used to do a lot of videos, but he hasn't really done anything lately that I'm aware of. If he did, I'd be watching it. Or if I knew of it, I'd be watching it. From Kentucky. He says Crown Royal is not worth the price, and he would pick Rich and Rare Reserve any day. It's half the price, and he says it's better. Well, I don't know that, but I'd be curious to find out. So we're going to say this is the NL Northern Lights, which is a little bit better. Tell Nikki he's got to do things a little bit better. I'll tell him, Remo. Okay. It is the Northern Lights. NL. Bob been nailing this. Oh, man, this got to be the best run of accuracy since I started doing taste challenges. I'm getting it right every time. Every time. I haven't missed yet. And I'm nearly at the end. We got Scotch coming up next. Johnny Walker Red Label. Get ready because it's about to be so on. When Johnny Walker Red Label comes into play, then it's going to be really fire. The channel's going to be fire then. You say, well, what's coming up after Red Label? Blue Label? I said, it's going to be quadruple fire then. So we're already burning, smoldering right now. We're smoldering right now. But when the Johnny Walker comes into the room and starts coming into play with this channel, it's going to be burn, Ronald, burn, burn, Ronald, burn. The channel's going to be fire. And you can mark that down. All this has just been preliminary. You say 10 years of preliminary, right? Right. Just the lead in. It's been the prologue. You say, so we never got to the main content. That's what you're trying to say. Exactly. Never did Crown Royal. Never did Johnny Walker. That's the body. That's the content. That's the main idea. That's the meat. All we've had is appetizer. Now, I'm not talking about beer. You know, we've done the West Flatiron 12. We've done the Lagunitas Willati Stout. We've done the Oscar Blues Barrel Age 1050, 1050, 1050, 10. We've done that. We've been to the mountaintop. And I did get there with you. I did get to the promised land with you. But how long are we going to stay in that land? I don't know. If we keep doing flavor beers like Seagram Smash, we may get expelled for worshiping false idols. People say that's not kosher, man. Actually, some of those are kosher, but I know what they're saying. That's not legit. Like, why are you doing this on your channel? It's like, why? It's like they're telling David Bowie, why are you doing this? Why are you doing all these pop songs? Well, we know why, because it was popular. He made a lot of money. But he said, I'm going back to my roots. I'm going to do 10 Machine. Good. And he went from having millions of people buying the albums to dozens. No big deal. I don't care. I didn't buy 10 Machine. I don't want to listen to a bunch of sound like a bunch of racket to me. Bunch of noise. But anyway, I don't want to start ranting on that. I don't want to start ranting on that. I got so many David Bowie albums. And I could say many things. Some of it good, some of it negative. A complaint I have about this Royal Canadian, honestly, is the more you drink on it, the more of the harshness you start to pick up. And I'm not in love with that. My daughter thought it was a little rough. And there is some iced tea flavor. Iced tea, no joke, not sweet tea. There's wood, there's a little razor blade or sandpaper or something, mouthfeel. You say, well, come on, man, it's not a sipper, it's a mixer. I know it is, and it's not really fair to do these, but I'll do it. But I have the same control group, right? Because I'm doing sipping with all of them, so you can't really bring that up. It's not a variable, it's a control, because they're all sipping, even though they're not designed as such. They got some people that do channels where they do mixed drink videos all the time, and they get a lot of coverage and a lot of people watch it. And that's good, and I'm not jealous of that. I have no interest in mixed drinks or cocktails, highballs, cocktail. But if they do it, that's good. I approve of that. I'm not interested in it. So Royal Canadian, I have mixed feelings about it. I keep wanting to say bad things about it, but then it'll bring up something that I didn't think of, like the iced tea. So let me just say that Royal Canadian is a confounding product. It confused my daughter. It's been confusing me for about 2 years now. So I don't know what to say about it, except it's confusing. Leave it at that. Does the world at large care about Royal Canadian? No. Try to find videos on YouTube about it. You'll see what I'm talking about. It exists. What do you want me to say? But it is more complex than you might believe. And it has some kind of seesaw quality. Every time you think it's down, then it goes up. And then when you think it's up, it goes down. And, when you get to the bottom, you go back to the top of the slide, and it's like a helter-skelter experience there. You keep drinking that stuff, you could be riding around the Mojave Desert in dune buggies trying to, get prepared for the helter-skelter and look for the holes that bring you to the inner earth or something. You know what I'm saying? You like go crazy trying to figure it out. The Northern Lights, you won't go crazy because it's just got such a stereotypical Sazerac flavored whiskey flavor. And I like it. I really like it. The more I drink these, the more I like them. Canadian Leaf, winner. The Northern Lights, winner. Caliber, winner. Little rougher though. Well, it's cheaper, It's a little cheaper. Canadian Hunter, a winner. And so on. So they have a whole array. They're all winners. DJ Beacon says, enjoying my first bottle of Crown Royal Northern Harvest Rye. Decent price, under $25. That's on my to buy list. Don't worry, it's on my to buy list. Canadian Club Rye. I think I'll do a whole rye series. But to be so much of a sidetrack, it'll put the whole channel on hold for like 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So I've done the Sazerac Rye, beautiful product. Oh, what a great $23 a bottle, sometimes $21.99. Sazerac Rye, buy it, try it. You're going to love it, I think. Canadian, how about Canadian Hunter Rye? Hunter Rye, 90 proof. It's not 100% rye whiskey, but it's heavily rye up. Get you riled up. Well, we only had little sample bottles, my friend David and I, but we were very impressed. So if I did find a glass bottle, which I don't know if I will, I would check it out. Yeah, Canadian Hunter Rye is it's very interesting. I love the baby Sazerac 6-year-old, but $30 here. Oh, yeah, there are Sazerac rye variants, right? They're more expensive, extra aged Sazerac rye. There's no doubt you can get those. And there's probably some that aren't even listed on their website that are even more expensive. You know, they do that. Sazerac does that. They're big into hidden brands. Sazerac is really big into hidden brands. So you never know what you're going to find. You go in some of these obscure liquor stores, you just gasp, you know, you just be like, no. And you just can't believe it. So if you get on Buffalo Trace or Barton 1792 website, or those other ones that Sazerac has, Gemini, what is it? Gemini Spirits. It goes on and on. I mean, you could spend hours looking at that. I should know. But you haven't covered it all. That's just like a tease. It's like, well, this is what we make. Or this is some of what we make. And then there's all the other stuff which we don't mention that you might stumble upon. So Sazerac, I think, does that on purpose to make it like an adventure, so to speak. So, oh, it's a fascinating company, and they're right here in Louisiana. Okay, well, enough of that. So, the Northern Lights is a winner, but not by a great margin, but it is a winner. I do prefer it over the Royal Canadian. All I'm going to say about Royal Canadian is a confusing product. I have to reserve judgment on it. I don't know what to say about it except that it's confusing me. Would I recommend you buying it? Oh, sure. For $8.99? Of course. You should buy it. Then you can try it and tell me what you think. Do a video. I'll watch your video. One of the more confusing whiskey brands I've ever purchased. All right. So thanks for watching this video production. Tomorrow night, we planning to do Fandango Friday, and I'm going to do the Northern Lights, and I'm going to go up against Canadian Hunter. That one could trick me up. Now that's one that could screw me up, because I think Canadian Hunter is very similar. I think they're using a very similar recipe, so that could be the end of my winning streak. And James P. Madonna is going to bring in Johnny Walker Red Label. He's excited about bringing Johnny Walker Red Label into play. I can't wait. And I don't know what other people are going to bring, if anybody else joins, but I have a feeling people are going to join. So they may bring beer, wine. Fandango Friday, you can bring anything you want. You could bring water and review. You could bring Dasani water and review it if you want to. And I'm not joking. Minute Maid orange juice. I don't care. All right. So thanks for watching this video production. Take care now.